If you want to look at the five forces in more detail, it can be quite helpful to have a little bit of a checklist of, well, exactly how do I think about buyer power? Is the customer got lots of power or not? And what you see on this chart is a set of sub-bullets under these various five forces that tell you the conditions under which that power is likely to be high. So I won't read all those through, but for example, if growth is low, if it's a low growth industry, then rivalry will tend to be higher, because to win market share, to build economies of scale, companies have to actually compete against each other. Whereas if growth is high, to build economies of scale, you don't need to compete, you just grow with the market and your costs come down. So in general, a lower growth industry will have more rivalry, more of the value will go into the pockets of consumers as a result. That's just one bullet. There's a lot of bullets. These all come from Michael Porter's original work, and which he published in a book called Competitive Strategy. And this is just some of the output from that book condensed down to one chart. But it's a useful checklist if you want to talk through in a more structured way how attractive a business is today, or perhaps how it might change over time. If you can see how growth rates in the industry might change, that gives you the chance to think through what that might do to industry profitability. Now, the next chart gives a little bit of an example, again, very detailed. How might that apply in a particular business? And what I'm showing here is just an analysis for, in this case, the European Airlines business. Now, that's quite a big business. We could well segment this down to talk about internal flights within Spain as a segment within the European Airlines business, or business class customers between London and Paris, or something like that. Here I'm just showing a general view, so one could do this analysis at a more detailed level, or actually at a more aggregate level as well, and talk about the profitability of the global industry. But you see, if you look through, there's typically some pluses and minuses. Yeah, the growth rate's quite good, so that should lower the power or the effect of rivalry. On the other hand, because it's a price competitive business, that tends to, it's a somewhat commoditized product, that tends to result in there being pressure on margins. So at the end of the day, you'll get a bunch of pluses and minuses. And you have to step back from this detail and say, well, overall, do we think that this is a powerful force that will erode profitability, or generally not a powerful force that will not have a big impact? And I've shown that on this chart by just showing a simple sort of thumbs up or thumbs down according to whether the power is quite weak and therefore it's quite profitable, or whether the power is quite strong and that leads to lower industry profitability. Now you will end up then with each of these forces analysed, and again there's a kind of judgment required to put this together and say, overall, does this look like a profitable business or an unprofitable business? And there's not much guidance about how to do this. You have to kind of think it through and make a judgment call, because these combinations of these factors, they interact in quite complex ways. And nobody's really been able to find a way to make this mechanical and easy. But if you use your judgment, hopefully one can look at that and say, overall, does that look a profitable industry or not?